From the studios of Foxborough Cable Access, located in the center of Foxborough, Massachusetts, you are watching Around Foxborough.
Welcome back to Around Foxborough. My name is Julie Love. I'm your host. Today we have a wonderful guest for our show. April is Child Abuse Awareness Month, and there are some community leaders that are working really hard to bring this awareness to our attention. Thank you very much for watching this show. Today it's very special. I am honored to introduce two of our guests. First, we have District Attorney Michael Morrissey. Hi, Michael.
Hi, Julie. It's great to be here again.
Thank you very much for being here. And then we have second guest, CEO of Hockomock Area YMCA, Mr. Ed Hurley. Hi, Ed.
Jerry, thanks for having us. Always good to see you. Thank you.
Well, absolutely. Well, this is a huge topic that I have seen at the YMCA. First of all, for as a member, many years, especially during the month of April, and then there are so many banners and actions that I have seen and working on. And then Michael, through Norfolk Advocates for Children, you are doing something really special this year, creating a rock garden. So why don't we start with Michael, District Attorney? Could you please tell us about Norfolk Advocates for Children, what it is, and then what kind of initiative they are doing this month?
Sure. Well, I'd say, first of all, a couple of things. It's great to see Ed. I haven't seen him, even by Zoom in a while, but the Y has been one of our community partners in a lot of different programs, particularly dealing with young people. And we do collaborate with them on a lot of different programs, Team Rival and other issues like that. But right in Foxborough, you mentioned the District Attorney's Office has Norfolk Advocates for Children, which is a kind of an all-in-one stop. It's behind the Public Safety Complex in right in Foxborough on the grounds of the old Foxborough State School. And one of the things that we've tried to do, like the national model and the best practices are that if you have someone who is a victim of child abuse or some kind of family violence, even if they may be a witness to violence, instead of having that person questioned over and over by the police, by DSS, by DCF, or by the District Attorney's Office, this is a one-stop shop where we can actually treat and provide counseling, help, assistance, and get to one story from that individual, so we don't have to keep talking to them and putting more pressure on them, because they are, for the most part, in a very fragile state, facing some very difficult times. So we do have medical help and assistance. We have some counseling, and we do a lot of referrals out to into the community to various types of providers, depending upon what the individual's needs are. So we deal with the victims and we deal with the witnesses and the families in crisis. Sometimes they lead to criminal prosecutions. Other times they end up just getting help and assistance or pointed in the right direction. And it's a great resource that's used by people throughout the entire county. So we do investigate hundreds and hundreds of cases a year, and that center is used almost every day. We're sorry to say there are that many sad stories and problems going on throughout the county that there's usually more than one case a day that we actually have to deal with. But as I said to you, some of them, not all of them, end up in prosecution. Some of them end up, just getting some help, assistance, counseling, and pointed in the right direction. And others go down that long path where, they may be cooperating with us on an ongoing investigation that leads to someone being prosecuted. So the center is non-threatening. It's kind of a homey living room place. It's not sterile like the DA's office or the police department. We try to put people at comfort and ease. We have specially trained nurse examiners and people who conduct forensic interviews. And all the different parties, whether it be the police or DCF or anybody else who has an interest in a case, can sit and watch the questioning live, just as we are now talking by Zoom. They can sit in another room, and the examiner, the forensic examiner, wears an earpiece. And so, like, if you had a question or if I had a question, then we can kind of whisper in the examiner's ear, "Hey, could you follow up on that last question?" So it's very non-intrusive and very non-threatening. So it's a terrific resource for us to have, and we're glad that it's in Foxborough.
Yes, absolutely. And then traditionally before the pandemic, you had 5K race to bring awareness and then do the fundraiser. But this year, since the pandemic, you're doing something special with the rocks. Can you tell me?
Yeah, it was, the two things I guess I would say happening. That's why the Y becomes so important, because they're getting their programs, especially young people, back up and running. And some of the programs they didn't really miss much of a beat. A lot of the reports that we get about child abuse of people who may be in struggling or have a family crisis, we get from the teaching community and from people like the Y who actually work closely, a trusted partner dealing with young people in daycare situations and things like that. So with school in particular, a lot of the teachers have been going remote, where we don't see the direct contact as much as that teachers are used to. So it's very hard for them to judge sometimes whether or not a child may be under some kind of immense pressure or family violence or other situations. So Child Awareness Month becomes more acute. And one of the ideas, I didn't dream it up, so I'll have to find out who in the office dreamed it up, but we wanted to create a kind of a garden of hope, a resource. So to get kids involved and also to pass the word, and the Y is a critical partner in this, that we're having people, they get some paints, they get a couple small rocks, for creating a rock garden. Sometimes the rocks may have a message on them, a special message of hope or help. And other times it's just like my granddaughter who's 4, I really couldn't explain to her what the NAC does, but she had a great time coloring the rocks. So we're adding to the collection so that we can show the community there's a lot of people that know what's going on at the center and to help us get the message out, especially during Awareness Month. So it's we never tried it, but with programs like yours and the help of the Y and others, we should have one heck of a rock garden.
Yes, thank you so much, Attorney Morrissey. Now, Ed, I know that you are helping in Norfolk Advocates for Children, and you have been helping, but this year you are picking up significant amount of rocks to help this initiative. Would you tell us about it?
Well, it's just a great opportunity for us. I mean, the same as the district attorney said, that means it's about education, it's about awareness, and to get young people involved in this. It's a passion of mine. It's something that's really important and part of the culture of the YMCA. There's nothing more important that we do than protecting the kids who are entrusted to our care. And so for the opportunity to partner again with the district attorney's office and with Norfolk Advocates for Children, we're going to have at our 14 sites during the April break, all the kids are going to be painting the rocks. And it's a great way, again, for them and quite frankly, their families, to understand more about what this effort is all about and how together, we can make a difference through, education and awareness and helping to prevent child sexual abuse. And that's something we try to do at our YMCA year round. But again, it isn't something we can or we try to do by ourselves. It's done in partnership with others and trying to convene communities. And I think that's the important thing that we're going to continue to focus on. And the district attorney and his office has been great with that, to help us get connected with others who can help us with this and get other folks to focus on this, because it's going to be as communities that we're going to be able to make a difference.
Jury, my granddaughter saw you get a set of paints. I think you get, I don't know, there was like 10 of them, I think, or 12 colors. And so her eyes lit up. She likes to paint and she's not very good at it, but she was having a heck of a time painting the rocks and mixing colors. And now at 4 years old, she might not be the person who puts the message on, but some of the teenagers who, of some of the people in the office who are aware of the NAC also started painting rocks as well. And they're a little bit more advanced. But as Ed said, we're putting some information. You get a little bag, you get a couple of rocks, you get the paint kit, and you get a little bit of a pamphlet about the Norfolk Advocates for Children. So a lot of the parents want to know, hey, what are these rocks for? And so by when the kids get the paints, they look at it and they read the pamphlet and they better understand the project. So it's just a way for us to put the word out in a non-threatening manner to let people know that there's resources out there if you need help.
Yes, absolutely. So, Ed, I know Y had sent some video. The first one is called "The Importance of Know, See, Respond in Child Abuse Prevention," and also the second video that we would like to share is "One Day at a Time," and then it's about 3 minutes video. That one, which District Attorney Michael Morrissey was in it too. So. Ed, would you tell us about this video, especially about One Day at a Time, why you thought it's important for Y to put together to public?
Sure. Well, one of the things that we've tried to do is during April, obviously it's a major focus. Ys around the country are involved in a 5 days of action program each year that has traditionally been in April. We moved it a little bit later this year because of the pandemic, and we're going to be focusing on summer, and it'll be rolling out in June, and it'll start the week of June 7th. And what it's designed to do is get Ys across the country, but again, not just YMCAs, but to encourage Ys to convene others in their communities to talk about the importance of protecting children and to share the resources that are available. And one of the things that we did several years ago that quite frankly has become a template that other YMCAs are starting to do now is to reach out to some of our great community partners like District Attorney Morrissey and ask them to be part of a PSA that we've put together, very short, but folks telling the story of why this is important and how they can make a difference. So both of those videos you're talking about, that's what it's focused on. It's about education, and hopefully folks get to see some people that they recognize and that they respect. And that's why this is important. And the No See Respond jury is something that we started many years ago, and we started with our camp program. And that's the first place we rolled it out. And it's just what it sounds like. It's focusing on the importance of knowing the signs of child sexual abuse. When you know the signs, and then when you see something that's happening that's inappropriate or that shouldn't be happening or is a violation of our protocols, that you respond and that you respond proactively. And we have focused that. It's on the kids' shirts. All of our staff shirts have the No See Respond logo on it, which again is great for them. They're all trained in it, and it's great for parents to see it as well. And now we're incorporating that into other programs at the YMCA because we think it's important year round for folks to know, to see, and then to respond when they see evidence of child sexual abuse. So that's what the videos are all about. We've had a lot of fun doing them, and we've had a lot of great friends of our YMCA and community leaders who fortunately have been willing to participate and share that story.
As I said to the jury, that's really important now, where we lose one of the biggest segments we have, even the medical community, the teaching community. People aren't going to their doctors as much. People aren't in school live. They're just starting to come back. So when you have that kind of fall off and that diminishing personal contact, where we usually pick up, as Ed said, the various signs, people are trained as mandatory reporters. We do a lot of that training throughout the county, but the Y becomes increasingly more important because their programs are still up and running. And they've hardly missed a beat, especially in the last few months. So to have people that are paying attention and spotting some of those signs, hopefully will keep some people safe.
Great. So let's watch the video.
At the Y, the safety and well-being of youth in our care is and always has been a top priority. Creating safe environments where children and teens can achieve, make friends, and belong is essential to each YMCA's ability to strengthen community. Unfortunately, in the US today, child sexual abuse is a serious and too common crime. Statistics tell us that 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 6 boys is sexually abused by the age of 18. These are difficult and startling statistics, but there is good news. With the right knowledge, tools, and support, child sexual abuse is preventable. Protecting youth from sexual abuse is the responsibility of everyone at our YMCAs and in our communities. To carry out this responsibility, we as Y staff and volunteers need to build on what we've learned from our work with Presidium and develop the 3 habits in child abuse prevention: know, see, and respond. We know when we understand the common practices of those who harm youth and the best practices to stop them. We see when we can recognize warning signs or behaviors that signal abuse or risk for abuse. We respond when we take action in response to behaviors we recognize as being inappropriate or questionable. As we see and interact with these 3 habits and their corresponding images in various ways at our YMCAs throughout the day, they remind us of our responsibility to safety and what we can do as individuals to protect youth from abuse. Commit to protecting the youth in your YMCA and your community by practicing the 3 habits of child abuse prevention each day. Because when we know and understand how abuse happens, see the warning signs, and are prepared to respond quickly to prevent it, we create a culture of child abuse prevention that results in even safer environments for kids to reach their full potential and reinforces the Y's reputation as a leader in youth development.
One in 4 girls and 1 in 6 boys in the United States will be a victim of child sexual abuse before the age of 18. Every adult can play a role in ending this violence against children.
Join us for 5 days of action, October 26th through the 30th, a national YMCA campaign designed to raise awareness, inspire, and educate all adults on how to take action to protect children from sexual abuse, one day at a time.
During these challenging times, commit to these steps to protect kids. A child's future depends on it.
What can you do?
Learn the facts one day at a time.
1 in 5 children are solicited sexually while on the internet before the age of 18.
Over 90% of child sexual abuse victims know their abuser.
Eliminate opportunities for sexual predators one day at a time.
More than 80% of sexual abuse incidents occur in isolated one-on-one situations.
Ensure your child is never alone with an untrusted adult, even virtually.
Make sure your child's interactions with an adult, in person or online, are observable and interruptible.
One day at a time, talk openly with your child about their bodies and boundaries.
Create a family code of conduct defining your family's values, setting boundaries, and expectations for behavior.
Know, see, respond.
Know the signs of child sexual abuse.
Emotional or behavioral changes are the most common signs, including acting out or being withdrawn.
Other signs may include nightmares, bedwetting, or indirect physical signs like chronic stomach pain, anxiety, stress.
React responsibly. Know, see, respond.
Once you know these signs, if you see or suspect inappropriate behavior, report it.
Know, see, respond. One day at a time.
What can your organization do one day at a time?
Learn the facts and share resources to prevent abuse.
Minimize the chances for abuse by following a code of conduct within your organization.
Insist that your organization or place you belong have protection practices.
Step in when you see suspicious behavior. Remember, know, see, respond.
Encourage adults and employees to take the free training protecting children during crisis.
Register your organization for a Y-facilitated child protection training.
Be a role model organization committed to preventing child sexual abuse.
Join us in a community-wide effort to protect children from child sexual abuse, one day at a time.
Well, thank you very much for sharing that video. And I really saw a lot of community leaders participated in this video, and it's wonderful. And again, bringing this awareness through Norfolk Advocate for Children and YMCA are really important. Personally, I'm also a survivor of child sex abuse myself. So what you are doing to advocate for children and then bringing us as adults to bring this awareness signs are really, really important. So District Attorney, I know that you have been advocate, working on the community partners. Like YMCA, what are the other partners that you are working with for the month of April with this program?
We're working with our school partners, which are very important because, as Mike mentioned, we did a lot of remote learning when for the schools during these challenging times. So we still had the kids every day. We still have many of them in after school programming as well. So our school partners are important, and they're going to be very important in June when we're sharing the message around the 5 days of action in the community. We've got a lot of other community partners who are involved in this work, including our friends at New Hope and obviously NAC and other CACs are participating in this as well. And really what we're looking for, Jerry, is to, others in the community that want to learn more. I mean, we've been doing trainings. We're continuing to do trainings for folks that want to get involved. We work with youth sports leagues, trying to get, some of the volunteers there trained. So it's all about, whatever resources folks need, we can help them connect the dots as well. We have some great friends at an organization called Darkness to Light out of North Carolina. They are amazing. They have some free videos, including one that's available for folks. And this is information that we can share with you, and it's on our website as well. During times like this, the pandemic we've been through, how to protect kids during times like this, and that's free. So there's a lot of resources out there, and I think that's what we're really trying to do. I mean, Mike mentioned earlier, his 4-year-old grandchild. I've got 3 grown children. I've got 3 grandchildren now, and this has been very important to me for a long time. But the last 6 years since I had my grandchildren, it really changes your perspective big time. And at the YMCA, I know there's nothing more important than when someone trusts the most important thing in their lives, their kids, to us to take care of during the day or in a program. And we take that very seriously. And now for me, with having grandkids, I realize how important this is, even more so. So we're committed to it. We're going to continue to make this a major focus of our YMCA. We're doing it every day. But at times like this in April and the 5 days of action, it's a chance for us to really, shine a light even brighter on it with our community partners. And we're really, very, very proud that we're able to do that.
Wonderful. So, District Attorney Morrissey, so how do you feel about this step the YMCA is taking, and then the partnership that you're making? Do you think this is making a huge impact in our community, especially in our state? That your effort, your leadership, how do you think it's really impacting? Maybe.
Well, it is correct, and everything he has said. Pandemic has not changed some of the issues that we had seen prior to the pandemic, some of the abuse and the assaults and other issues that families faced. It's just how we uncover them and how we have to train people. We're still doing a lot of training with mandatory reporters to remind people that certain people do have an obligation under law, but as again, that diminished contact makes it harder for people to spot some of the signs. And so people have to be a little bit more flexible, and if they're concerned about something, to say something, because that may cause someone to be saved. And I guess it's very simple. I think we can make a difference in one child's life, then that's a plus. And in this case, I think we'll make a difference in a lot of people's lives. And again, I'm with that. I used to have an affiliation privately and practice law. My law firm actually used to work for Y Mutual, used to represent the YMCA at times. And I know that they take their trust, especially dealing with children's programs, very serious. And they're a great partner for us because we do as well. And so we also work with people like Mass General Hospital and counseling centers in the area. So between us, we seem to kind of do pretty well. And that's one of the advantages of going to the NAC. We may not have the answers, but we can get the answers, and we can steer you in the right direction, so that maybe ease some of the pain or the burden that you may be carrying because of the crisis you've been through, or the attacks that are occurring, depending on how serious the natures are. Legally, and those are the easy part. We can handle the legal challenge. I have plenty of capable and able attorneys to do that. But trying to deal with the victims is always very difficult. And we don't want to get to see someone to be a victim. We want everybody to be able to, as Ed said, have some trust, have some confidence in the people, especially you are leaving your kids with. More and more these days, people have to trust others. I know my daughter has their 4-year-old in daycare, and ironically, my wife is doing 2 days a week, but it's expensive daycare, and it's hard for parents who both have to work to find a trusting soul or group or organization that may be watching their young people. And the Y obviously wants to send that message, is that they can and are that trusting person or partner that you can find in the community. So we love working with the Y, and we think this is one more collaboration that, hey, anything we can do to get the good word out, we think is all good news, is positive to us.
And Ginger, if I can just add, thank you, District Attorney, for what you said about the Y, and again, how we feel about you and your office. But this isn't just that, and it's great for me, and I'm honored to be able to represent our YMCA. But this is really about all YMCAs, and as Mike said, Ys they're doing this everywhere, and we've got a national group. I was involved in starting this over a decade ago, and now it's become a national group of 35 YMCA leaders that are part of a group that is really driving this on a national level with YMCAs. And we've seen a dramatic increase in YMCA's participation in 5 days of action. We had over 800 Ys participate last year, over 500 community partners. So the work is beginning. But the other thing that I want to say is that nationally, there was a 12th membership standard that was added for YMCAs that we fought really hard to get in, and our national YMCA has adopted one, and it revolves around child protection, and that YMCAs have to commit to a certain set of criteria, protocols for protecting kids. And we're continuing to refine, we're continuing to develop, and quite frankly, hold each other accountable to make sure we are, because again, this is about protecting kids and what we can do collectively as a national YMCA movement and what we can do locally. And I'm really proud of what Massachusetts Ys have done. We've been a leader in this, in getting some of these initiatives started. And, that's going to continue because the work is not going to end until we get to the day where we're confident all kids are safe. And that day is not here.
I really appreciate both of you for your leadership and the vision and then preventing this crime or even aftermath, like dealing with it. But I think the most important thing is to prevent it and not have victims at all. So, to that point, like I completely appreciate even having a dialogue, having seen the badge, seeing the rock garden, and then bringing this awareness to the community member who has maybe never thought about it. But having the dialogue movement, that is the first step to prevent this crime.
Well said.
Education, and that we strongly agree with it, Jerry. That I think Ed and I would tell you, education prevention have to be the top of the list, and that includes educating our own staff. So we do a lot of that to just so they can work and recognize the problem.
Yes. And Jerry, one other group that I'm thinking as we're talking about this that I didn't mention that's been great partners for us in the time that we've been involved in this. I mentioned the schools, but our local police departments as well, because they are critical to this work, and they have supported our efforts and have worked with us on this too. And another key partner that we're very grateful to have.
Yeah, it truly touches me. It's really close to my heart, and I am so honored that both of you came to Around Foxborough today. So, with respect, would you have a last word for our audience at the Foxborough Cable Access and Around Foxborough? District Attorney Morrissey, would you give us a last word for this program?
Just as the Rock Garden is trying to send a message, just remember we'll keep putting the message out that this is obviously the awareness month. And we'll try to make people that it's a problem that still exists, but we're trying to decrease it. And as Ed said, it's not gone away, but we're doing our part to diminish it and make it go away. And so if you can in a special way, pay attention. If you see something, say something. And as you said, the local police department and others, even at the Norfolk Advocates of Children, if you need some help with training, we do a lot of that. So it's a good chance for us to kind of put the word out and hope people will take notice.
Great. Ed, would you give us our last word?
I think District Attorney Morrissey pretty much nailed it. I would simply say to folks that are listening, if they want to learn more about an organization that they're involved with, or personally, learn more about what they can do or resources that are available, please reach out to us at the YMCA. To me personally, again, this is a passion of mine. It's something I believe very deeply in. Our Y is committed to it. But it's not about just our why, it's about the community. I keep saying that, but we've got to get more community leaders and community organizations involved. And quite frankly, Foxborough and the Foxborough schools, there has been no greater leader in this than the Foxborough schools in terms of the requirement of all their teachers getting trained in the darkness to light child protection, all town employees. It's been amazing. And Foxborough has led, and they've been recognized with our group and YMCAs across the country for what they have done. So I want to just make sure I acknowledge that fact before we leave as well, Jerry.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much again. Thank you everyone for watching another episode of Around Foxborough. Our executive director is Michael Weber and our director is Paul Beck. Our website is fcatv.org. You can click on video on demand to watch the episodes of Around Foxborough. Thank you again for watching. See you next time.